Devereaux!
I'm Mr. Devereaux.
What's that humming mean?
Beethoven's Fifth.
I never said I was more than I am.
Welcome, everyone, to episode 44 of Kiss Meets the Podcast. I'm one of your hosts, Eli Clausen.
And I'm Stevie Nicks.
And before we get into everything, just wanted to take a quick second to acknowledge and send our thoughts and best wishes to regarding the senseless tragedy that happened in Las Vegas just the other day. Completely uncalled for, horrible situation. So just wanted to send our condolences, and everyone should be thinking about those people. Not to mention, during that day, we lost Tom Petty. Total shock. Friend of the show, he sent a text, and at first I jumped online, and it sounded like he was, taken to the hospital. But then I saw they pulled him off life support, and obviously it was pretty much inevitable. Then that was a pretty big blow, man. I never considered myself a huge fan of Petty, but I mean, he's got so many good songs though that I love, and so many of those songs have been part of the soundtrack to my life. I sat there and listened to all the songs I like from him today, and I could just flash back to certain times, hearing certain songs like Free Fallin' and all that kind of stuff. And Don't Come Around Here No More, I always love that music video. I remember seeing that on MTV. So cool, seeing that as a little kid. So it's definitely another sad day in music, man. We're losing way too many of the the big major rock stars that are great songwriters, performers, all that good stuff. Not to mention the duet song that he did with Branton here, or Stevie Nicks, I meant. And then of course the work he did with the Traveling Wilburys, and of course now all of them except for Dylan and Jeff Lynne are gone. So what was your take on the whole thing?
I was going to say the first time I heard Free Fallin' was it was on MTV Video Music Awards. Tom Petty and Axl Rose did Free Fallin', and nobody had heard the song yet. To my knowledge, I don't think it was even released as a single, right around that time. And I was thinking, what is this, a Guns N' Roses song? Is this a song they did together or what? I thought it was odd because Axl did the majority of the vocals on that one. And but yeah, as far as Tom Petty, I actually, in watching a lot of his videos, discovered a lot of new songs from more recent albums that I really, really like. Now I want to go out and get some more of his stuff, not because he passed away. It just happens to be that I was watching and listening to a lot of it and ran across songs that I think the last studio album I bought of his was, what's the one with, he had quite a few singles off of it. It was in the 90s.
Oh, Full Moon Fever.
No, it was before. It was after that. It was Wildflowers.
Wildflower. That's a great album.
That's a really good album. I think that's the last one I bought. So I'm sure he's done numerous albums since then. So there's a lot of stuff I need to catch up on, probably.
Yeah, I had forgotten about a song of his that I liked. It was from an album back in 2002 called Last DJ. Or This Is the Last DJ, something, or There Goes the Last DJ, I forget the title. But I remember hearing that back when it came out, and I liked it. And it's one of them songs where he was pretty much speaking his mind on the state of the music business, and didn't pull any punches. And that was one of the last really good songs that I heard from him, and I had kind of forgotten about it over the years. Ran across it again today, and now I have it on the computer again. And I agree. I have, I don't know, I'm thinking at least 4 or so Tom Petty albums on vinyl. And I know I have the greatest hits on CD, but there are some albums I'd like to get, like Wildflowers. I know has always been fairly pricey on vinyl, but of course now with the unfortunate events, I'm sure they're going to end up re-releasing a lot of that stuff now and reissues and whatnot. So I guess they even had put out some box sets with the full discography. Like there was two volumes of it. So I saw a couple people online that were showing theirs, and I don't remember hearing about those coming out, but they look really nice, really nicely packaged.
I guess they just finished their farewell tour, their 40th anniversary tour.
Yeah,
the 25th at the Hollywood Bowl? Was that was the last show, I think.
Come on.
The internet. The interwebs.
There we go. All right, so stupid thing had a hiccup. But yeah, he had just recently finished the tour, and I was reading the thing yesterday that was a little, I don't know, sort of eerie, I guess, in a way. I guess he had recently done an interview with Rolling Stone, and he said that tour was going to be his last big tour. And, go figure, right after he ends the tour, this happens, and so it makes you wonder. Sometimes they can sense when something's coming, and they either know or I don't know. Unfortunately, I never had the chance to see him, so that's another artist that I'll always have that unfinished spot on the bucket list of never being able to see. And I know he had come around fairly recently, I believe. I think he played like Cincinnati over the summer, I believe.
Seems like he was around here somewhere.
Yeah, so never had the chance to see him, but I do have some live videos and stuff that I can always watch. And there's that great documentary that they did about him and the band. It's on Netflix, so I'm gonna.
That's in my queue to watch. I haven't watched it.
Same here. It's been there. I've been wanting to watch it, but now I'm gonna make sure to watch it. And so yeah, just wanted to take a minute to send our condolences as well to his family and the bandmates and all that stuff. It was definitely a unforeseen passing the way it happened, and really a shock and a big blow to the music industry and to all the people that loved his music. And you'll really start seeing now like how big of a impact he really was. And because sometimes you never get that until the person's gone, then you when they start building them up, you kind of get that realization like, wow, like, man, he really was that important. So
well, there was there's like 3 or 4. He's like the 4th one, I think. There was Hugh Hefner and recently, and Harry Dean Stanton, the actor, and there was another one too.
I saw Monty Hall died too.
Monty Hall, that was another one. Yeah, seemed like there was another one too, but.
It's like it seems like every year, man, it's just getting worse and worse with the caliber of people that we're losing, especially in the music world. I mean, obviously there were some big ones last year, and then this year we've had some pretty big blows again, and now with Tom Petty, and I know the year's not over yet, but it's like it needs to call.
That I don't really know what to think about, because the very first famous person that I remember dying was Elvis. I remember where I was and what I was doing when Elvis died. But then other people died. I remember when John Lennon got shot. I remember when Kurt Cobain, passed away and all that. But then when it gets to people like that I grew up with in the 80s, like Prince and Michael Jackson and, all these people, Whitney Houston, not that I was a big fan, but, it's from that era. And Tom Petty, these people are like, it makes me feel like I'm next. You know what I mean? Because, I mean, Tom Petty was 66. He's a lot older
Yeah.
than I am. Not that you have to be a certain age, but, you know, it just makes you really think about it.
I mean, that's a young age. I mean, hell, my mom just turned 67. I mean, or 68 actually, and it's like he should have lived another good at least 20 years of his life. But to be taken that soon and that sudden is just sad. And and he had a birthday coming up on October 20th was his birthday, so he would have been 67. And
I wonder if if his family had a history of, like heart problems and stuff.
see, I don't know. I know, he had a tough childhood growing up with his father. Abused him, and so I know there was a period where Tom turned to heroin for a while and kicked that, and he was always a smoker and stuff. So obviously that kind of stuff is going to have its effect the older you get. It's going to start taking its toll on your body, and I'm sure that's probably a lot of the effect of it. Because from some clips that I've seen of some of the last shows that he did, he seemed absolutely fine to me.
Right.
So yeah, it's just one of them things, I guess. So we don't know the full story yet of what exactly, when they found him, if there was anything around him that could have contributed. Hopefully not, but it's just I don't think it's quite registered with me yet. Even though I've sat here and listened to the music today, it's like it almost, like, to me it just felt like he's still here, just like it always was. When I listen to his stuff, and then it's like, wait, like, oh man, like it's weird. And it's just he, like you were saying with Prince, Michael Jackson, all those people. I felt the same way, like growing up with those people, and those people to me always felt timeless. Like they were just always going to be around. And Tom Petty was one of those. I mean, he just always seemed like, to me, it felt like he was around longer than what he was. Like he was just, because growing up as a little kid, seeing his stuff on MTV, all the way to now, it's just like he was always there. And like I say, there was always a song or two of his that was part of the summer soundtrack, pretty much every year growing up.
He's one of those artists that a lot of his music's played on classic rock radio, and then a lot of his videos were on heavy rotation on MTV at the same time. Because he sort of had that classic rock period, and then he sort of started with MTV and he made some really good videos. So all that stuff was being played, which was stuff that a lot of it wasn't on classic rock radio. So not too many artists have been able to sort of do that.
Right. I mean, and he was making some really fun videos back then, like certain artists were doing, and they were literally fun to watch. And Don't Come Around Here No More, and I can't think, but I'm pretty sure he had at least a couple other like creative videos along those lines. I know the Cars used to do that too. Not to get off subject, but. So I don't know. It's just it's definitely a big loss, taken too soon. It's, I don't know. I just wanted to again send the condolences to the family, the band, all the friends that he had, all the fellow fans of Petty and his music. So and again, want to send the condolences to all the people affected with the shooting in Vegas. Didn't mean to not spend a little time on that, and nothing to that effect. But so that's just a mess in itself. More news is coming out of that, more information and whatnot. So it's just, I don't know. It just seems like it gets worse and worse, and I'm hoping. It's unfortunate things like that happen, but it kind of makes you think, like, okay, is something like this going to make people finally shut up about the politics and everything and fighting and unite again like it used to be, like back when 9/11 happened, the way everybody united, and back when the Gulf War happened, the way everyone was so united. I remember all that. So and it sucks that things like this have to happen to have a chance for people to start uniting again. So who knows? It may not have an effect at all. But everything's just getting too far-fetched these days, and I don't mean to bring too much politics into this show, because that's not what we're about. And don't want to bring it down too much either.
We're not? I thought we were politics.
Oh, politics. I remember her.
Yeah.
That was a stripper.
I think I went to school with her.
Yeah, I think she was a stripper down at the dirty bar, the titty bar. So anyway, let's kind of move on from that. We wanted to address that at the beginning of the show. Again, rest in peace, Tom Petty. Sorely missed already. And again, best wishes to everyone affected in the shooting, and to all those families and everything. So, all right.
On a different note, I'd like to sort of ask you what you think about LA Kiss. How you think they're doing this year?
Wow, it sounds like they're undefeated. Hey, you can't lose a game if you don't play a game, right?
I just wonder if a lot of that stuff, from LA Kiss has showed up on eBay. Have you ever looked for any of that?
I've noticed, I think on Kiss Warehouse and all that stuff, they have an overabundance of LA Kiss merchandise, like the footballs and hats and things like that.
I want a cheerleading outfit.
Honestly, I wouldn't mind a jersey or something, especially if it's cheap. I wouldn't mind an LA Kiss jersey. I thought they were kind of cool looking. And
I like the look that they had going.
Yeah.
There's the other cat.
Cat butt.
Yeah.
But all of our cats are being assholes today, so if you see mine pop up again. Again, a pretty quiet week in the Kiss world. It sounds like we may not hear anything from Kiss for about a year, because Gene says that he's taking a year off to handle all the duties with the Vault box set, delivering it, and Paul having the dates with Soul Station and all that. So it sounds like we could pretty much forget about hoping that Kiss does a tour next year. So,
seen that little Vinnie Vincent video, very, very little.
Yes, a little teaser video clip was released last week, and talking about the Atlanta Expo, and they actually had Vinnie in it. Especially at the end, you just kind of see him. He's covering his face except his eyes, and he still looks like Vinnie to me. I mean, I'm sure I'm obviously aged, but he still looks like Vinnie for the most part, from what I could tell.
Yeah, someone had commented on something I was reading about it. I don't know. I don't think it was that specific video. They said something about, and they must be basing it on something in the past. You might know what it is. Said that they hope that they didn't give him all the money up front to do the expo, or he probably won't show up. I don't know what that was about exactly.
Well, I think at the same time, though, they have contracts written up, so if he were to do something like that, they can probably turn around and sue him or whatever. But hopefully that's not the case, and everything just goes nice and smooth, and it's a great time for everybody. And I'd still am kind of considering trying to go, because I heard that they released another round of VIP tickets, so I'll have to look into that. So I don't know. It could happen, maybe not.
He might come to your house and deliver Gene's box set,
or maybe the box set he was supposed to put out. I don't know.
Yeah, I'd like to get that, because I'm sure there's a lot of unreleased stuff that Vinnie has.
Yeah, true. I thought that video clip was awesome, man. It kind of gave me goosebumps, and it kind of got me pumped up a little bit, because I was like, that was really cool, especially for Vinnie to do that. And he still has that good sense of humor about him, and he just really seems like a good guy when it comes down to everything. So
I'm really looking forward to. Well, I'm assuming that some of that, the Q&A, is going to show up, online, to where you can at least watch it. And I think that he'll be very honest in his questions, because he's going to get the questions that everybody's been going on and on about, as far as what he's been doing and why he's been in hiding, so to speak, and all the questions that everyone has. Pretty much, it seemed like he'll be honest and answer them. I mean, that's what I'm hoping for.
Well, that's if we don't go and see it in person, right?
Right, right. And well, see, it's different with Vinny because he's not in Kiss, so he can say pretty much whatever he wants to say. Really,
Yeah.
I don't think he's under any kind of contract that binds him to not say certain things.
Yeah, I'm really excited to hear what he's going to say, especially the obvious question of where he's been. I kind of don't blame the guy either for as much shit as was being thrown at him back in those days, and to just get away from it. And for all we know, he could have been writing songs for people and producing stuff that we don't even know about that became big hits over these years. And
you know what? I'd tell you what I'd really like to see after this expo, or even I'd sort of like to see it before the expo, just in case I don't get to go. But when's he going to write a book?
Yeah, maybe he'll announce that.
That would be really interesting to read, because I think he would have a lot to say that people don't know. He was in the band and he can say whatever he wants.
I'm excited to hear what he'll have to say. I'm even excited to hear Michael James Jackson went on the cruise. Like, I'm interested to hear his Q&A.
And he produced, was it Creatures of the Night or Double Platinum? Which one did he do?
Creatures, and I want to say he did, was it Animalize, or I think he did a couple. I want to say that.
I always thought that he was the one that remixed Double Platinum, but I might be thinking someone else.
No, Sean Delaney mixed that.
Mm.
He went in and did all those weird. I mean, some of them I like, better than the original version. But yeah.
So is he going to be at the Atlanta Expo or just on the Kiss cruise?
I believe it's just the cruise. It seems like, I'd have to double check this, but it seems like they had announced him for the Atlanta Expo too. But I'm not 100%. But I know as far as the cruise, he will. I'll pull it up here.
There was other guests lined up for the expo, but I don't remember who they were right off.
Yeah, I'm going to try to pull it up here.
I think that band Wicked is supposed to be there. That was at the New Jersey one.
Oh, really?
That I guess you call it a glam metal band. They have like blonde hair and they're wearing white outfits. They're really awesome.
Oh, yeah. I remember seeing them in the video.
Yeah, they're supposed to be there.
Yeah, the video, Three Sides had posted. I remember seeing that.
Mm-hmm.
Let's see. Keep going. I'm trying to find the.
It seems like that they. I want to say they had someone that's not necessarily affiliated with Vinnie Vincent, but obviously a Kiss-related guest, and I can't remember who it is. I'm sure it will show up on the list. If they've announced everyone. I guess they were going to add some more people between now and then, too.
Looks like Kurt Gooch and Jeff Suze. Is that? Yeah. They're doing a thing. I think that's when they're supposed to premiere some never-before-seen video footage and whatnot. Yeah, it's showing a to-be-announced guest Q&A, but then Big John Hart is going to be there. Stories from the Creatures Tour and more. Robert Fleischman, then of course Vinny is scheduled to go on around 4. Creatures of the Night costume contest, and then another to be announced special guest closing party with a Kiss tribute band.
And Robert Fleischman, he did the vocals on the first Invasion album, right? Before
Yes.
it got Mark Slaughter.
Yes. So yeah, there's definitely more guests to be announced. Looks like the meet and greet goes from like 2 to 8:30, which obviously they'll take that break when it's time for him to do his Q&A. But yeah, it says early opening for pink ticket holders. I like that. So
how would you describe Vinnie Vincent Invasion to someone that's never heard it? How would you describe that music? Probably from the 80s. So that pretty much creates a certain type of atmosphere as far as what you think. far as metal, I guess you'd say.
I'd almost say like it's a more pissed off sounding Kiss, like the way Kiss should have sounded at that time. And it's more, there's more balls and fire to it when it comes to the Vinny's playing and the vocals, all that stuff.
Yeah, the vocals are definitely high range. I think Mark Slaughter and Robert Fleshman can really hit those notes.
Yeah, and Vinny, hey, he came out and he was making a statement, and I'm sure he gave Kiss a run for their money at that time. I don't know numbers as far as album sales, versus each other, but.
And the first album was what, in 86?
Was it 86? I thought it was a little earlier.
85, 86, I think. And that was really super glam at the time. I'm trying to think of another band. I mean, a lot of bands were doing that, but it's almost like Vinny was pushing it even farther because, he had to.
Yeah.
You said something, and the look was really glam on the video. Boys Are Gonna Rock. That's like my favorite video. I could watch that over and over. It's just awesome.
Yeah, it's a great song. I mean, it's good stuff. It's obviously it's totally complete 80s. It doesn't necessarily stand up to the test of time, but it's still cool stuff to listen to. I mean, but if like you said, if someone that's not familiar with Kiss, let alone Vinnie Vincent, and then you sat and put that on right away, they'd probably be like, "What the hell is this?"
I think his guitar playing it's like a style that is it a style like he created himself. It's like a finger tapping, but not necessarily like Eddie Van Halen. It's sort of I've tried to watch him play in some of the footage I've seen, but of course in video you're sort of lip syncing, so it's not, and he couldn't play 100% like that in Kiss, so. Right,
and then doing the bow solo and stuff in Kiss, that was I thought that was pretty cool. I always consider he's kind of like a mix of Eddie Van Halen and Randy Rhoads, and then he has his own little flavor in there too when it comes to his playing style, because he was trying to be right up in that same level as those guys, in the same sentence with those guys' names and stuff.
And if he'd have been able to stay in Kiss all these years, and that would have been a lot of years by now. He would have got to that status.
Yeah, I think so. They'd have probably looked at him with more regard than what Ace gets looked at.
How many years would that have been? He joined in 83.
Well, it'd be
82, 83.
It'd be like 34, almost 35 years now, I believe. That'd be crazy. They're.
Yes, it would.
I mean, like I said, Ace probably wouldn't have been as regarded as he is now. If Vinny had been in the band that long, and there may have never been a reunion. Who knows? But I don't know.
That would be a good what if right there. For sure, because it would have changed. I mean, it would have changed everything up till now. It would have just been, I guess, the drummers would have been the only thing that would have changed.
Yeah. It's one of them things. I mean, that was one of his only downfalls, is being hard to work with and not signing that contract. If it wasn't for that, who knows what would have happened. So, and like I said, for all we know, over these last 20 years that he's been gone, he may have been co-writing songs or producing stuff that became big hits over these last 20 years, and we just don't know that he worked on it, because he may have used like a pen name to go under for it, or just didn't get the credit for.
Well, I'd like to hear his side of the story, because we've always heard Paul and Gene's side. I mean, very little of it, but we've heard their side more than Vinny's. I'd like to hear his side on, what actually happened and why they couldn't work with me, or why I couldn't work with them, and what they wanted me to do and what they didn't want me to do, and why we butted heads, and what was the final straw. I'd really like to hear all that stuff, because from Paul and Gene's perspective, we get the story, but we don't really get the story. So Yeah, I hope people ask him those type of questions. I hope he's honest to answer those.
Well, I mean, he kind of answered those questions back in the 90s when he did a couple conventions, but I'm sure now it would probably be much more in depth, and he would probably say a lot more. And um, I don't know either, but I think a lot of it probably came down to the playing style. Is he wanted to play the way he plays, and they were probably telling him, no, you need to back it up, because this is Kiss. It doesn't need to be, like Eddie Van Halen or Randy Rhoads. That's just not the Kiss sound. And I'm sure that was a lot to do with it. And then the whole thing about the contract, and, with the contract, that was pretty much insurance right there. So the fact that he wouldn't sign that, he wasn't under their insurance. So it was kind of one of them things where it's like, well, if you're not going to sign it, then you got to go, because we can't take that risk of you not being under insurance.
I'm sort of puzzles me a little bit how that they got him back in '92 to write some songs for Revenge. Considering
Right.
how it all was before and with the contract and everything, it's like I wonder how they came to the conclusion. It's like, we really need to get Vinnie Vincent back on board, because
Right.
the way they talk about him now, it's like they don't want anything to do with him. So something must have happened around that time too for them to say, well,
Well, I think at the time that they first originally split up, there probably wasn't really any bad blood or bad feelings. It was more of like a unfortunate thing that had to happen. Well, whatever happened after Revenge, where they started butting heads and Vinny was filing lawsuits and stuff, that's what really created the rift and all the trash talking, and pretty much writing him out of history. Was pretty much at that point is how I see it. I don't think there was like major bad feelings. I mean, now Eric Carr on the other hand, he would say some things about Vinny. If you listen to the interviews around that time after Vinny was gone, and he'll kind of
anything that happened, from the Revenge period on with Vinny, I think, if anything, it probably at least added to whatever they dealt with before.
Oh yeah, 100%. He probably, he was probably butting heads about how much money he was going to get or writing credit, however all that works,
Probably similar to a situation with Peter Criss, They
Exactly.
had him back for the reunion, and then they had him back for those shows that they needed him for, I guess. And each time they had him back, they had to deal with an extra buttload of crap, and they just got to a point. It's like, okay, that we can't do this anymore. So
Right.
it must have been a similar situation.
And
Even though Vinny wasn't technically in the band there in '92.
right, it's just like, and there's that whole thing with like points and all that stuff that they get in the or the music industry, and so there was probably arguments along the lines of that kind of stuff, and whatever grounds that he was basing his lawsuits on that he was filing. I don't recall right now. I never really did enough research to see what that was all about, because it didn't add up to nothing anyway. But yeah, other than the music side I guess business side of things in the music industry, for the most part, it seemed like he wasn't good to work with. But at the same time, that could be said about Gene and Paul too. Like maybe it was them that weren't easy to work with. I don't know.
Well, Gene and Paul butt heads too, so
Right.
it could just been, and they even said that, it's like Gene said, I think it was on the Exposed video. He said, like, you have a four-way marriage, and if everyone's not on the same page, I mean, sometimes that creates something good when you have different perspectives, but if it's too far one way or the other, it's causing a problem, I guess.
Right, and like Paul was saying, he felt like he should have had the sole writing credits and everything all the time that Gene was not involved. And I agree with him, but Gene worked it into where he still got writing credits on stuff. And
Yeah, that's what happens when you're part of history, I guess.
Yeah, but yeah. Other than that, I mean, Vinny definitely seems like a real nice guy, and so I'm looking forward to either watching the videos or if I do get a chance to actually go and be there, that would be awesome too, and meet him and all that stuff. But who knows? We're still a few months out. See what happens by then. So let's see. Not a whole lot else going on with the Vault box set now. That's kind of calming down finally. I know we've talked about it probably over the last 3 episodes now, so there's always been something new popping up with it, but it doesn't seem to be a whole lot of new stuff coming up with it other than, he's still doing his promotional appearances, and I know the track listing for the first disc is out there, but that's it. And yeah, so let's see, what else am I not thinking of? Well, they did those shows. Didn't seem to be nothing eventful about those.
Yeah, I noticed the stage looked pretty small on some footage I'd seen recently.
Yeah, it looked like a pretty very stripped down stage, I guess. Which I guess isn't necessarily a bad thing either, but and it was pretty much same old set list, of course, but that's pretty much what we're expecting right now when they're just kind of doing random shows here and there, and then they're pretty much getting ready to take a year off anyway, is the way it sounds. So it's like, why?
Oh, and the funny thing is, you predicted that.
Did I?
Before it happened, you said that that's probably what's going to happen.
Yeah, and a year passes, and hopefully, everybody's good and healthy, and they go back out on a tour or whatever happens, whether a new album comes out, whatever.
Does your shirt say "Party Every Day" on it?
No, Party Animal.
I was close.
But oh shit, what else? Seemed like there was something else we were gonna mention. I can't think of it.
Well, have you heard anything about a release date for the Ace album? I haven't heard.
The Volume 2 Origins?
Yeah.
No, I haven't heard nothing yet. I know the Anomaly Deluxe Edition finally came out, and that looks pretty good with the packaging and everything. From what I understand, it's already a little pricey, like it's getting kind of hard to find.